So currently the NHL has 32 teams. That's a fact right there. And honestly, I would say the NHL out of all leagues right now has quite a bit of parity. Like once you get to the playoffs, anyone can win the Stanley Cup. Over the years, we've seen the top teams in the league like the Tampa Bay Lightning win Stanley Cups, and then we've also seen teams like the St. Louis Blues win the Stanley Cup, and everyone was betting against them. So what I'm going to do today is I'm going to simulate the NHL season 32 times, and by rights, we should have 32 different winners. But obviously, that's not going to happen. Sorry, San Jose fans. Your team is not winning a Stanley Cup. And also, sorry, St. Louis fans, we are also not winning a Stanley Cup. But you know what? I'm keeping a bit of hope. We might be able to compete. Probably not, but you know what? I'm going to have some hope. At the end of year number 1, we're going to see the Devils being the President's Trophy winner, first in the entire league with a 55-23-4 record. Now, I wouldn't say we had a ton of surprises this season, but there were two. One of them was the Toronto Maple Leafs missing the postseason, and the Anaheim Ducks making the playoffs. What's going on in this universe? Because I don't want to be in it. Nikita Kucherov's going to be leading all players in points as he's picking up 109, but Connor McDavid only 95 points. I'm just going to mention this right now. The scoring is never going to be accurate. Connor McDavid picking up only 95 points. I'm assuming that means he only played like 60 games, maybe even 50 games. So the scoring, that's not going to be accurate whatsoever, but we're still going to be going over it. But this is what we care about the most, the Stanley Cup playoffs, and we're going to see the Winnipeg Jets taking down the Tampa Bay Lightning in a 6-game series. This is either the 4th or 5th video I've recorded for NHL 24 so far, and Winnipeg has won so many Stanley Cups, it's absolutely ridiculous. On top of playing every season, I'm keeping a tally of everything that happens. That includes Stanley Cup winners, Conn Smythe winners, Hart winners, where we're going to see Nikita Kucherov, Norris winners. That's Cale Makar right there. The Calder, more likely it's going to be Connor Bedard every single season. I'm just going to assume that. Conn Smythe winner, we have Mark Scheifele leading the Winnipeg Jets. Vezina, we got Bobrovsky. Yeah, so it's safe to say that I don't think we're going to be seeing the most realistic awards today. And we're also going to be looking at the Rocket Richard. That's going to be Nikita Kucherov as well. The rest of the awards I'm not really worried about too much, like Ted Lindsay, that's voted on by players. Yeah, it's NHL 24. That's not going to be a realistic vote anyway. I'm pretty sure it's just the same as whoever wins the Hart. Also with the Frank Selke, that's a pretty hard one to judge through a video game. So when this season came to an end, we're going to see the Colorado Avalanche taking home the President's Trophy. They're first in the entire league, 56-19-7. And it's good to see the Toronto Maple Leafs bouncing back. They're third in the entire league. I would say the one big surprise from this season though was Seattle making the playoffs, finishing 21st in the entire league. Not that the Seattle Kraken making the playoffs is a surprise, but the fact that they finished 21st in the entire league and still made the playoffs. Also Vegas, the team that's coming off a Stanley Cup, missed the postseason. I don't know how I'm feeling about that one. Nathan MacKinnon was our top performer in simulation number 2 as he's picking up 120 points, an incredible season from him, 56 goals and 64 helpers. McDavid's having a bounce back here, he's up to 103 points, but Erik Karlsson 101 points. I guess it wouldn't hurt if I checked out the goaltender numbers once in a while. We're going to have Stuart Skinner leading all goaltenders in wins with 47. He's also got 5 shots, a 914 to 270 to lead all goaltenders. But in the postseason, when it all mattered most, we're going to see the Colorado Avalanche taking home a Stanley Cup, defeating the Boston Bruins of all teams in 7 games. So you're telling me after Boston lost all those guys, they're still going to be able to compete for Stanley Cups? Honestly, this might be a bit of a hot take after the season Boston just had. This team's not making the playoffs. I feel like it shouldn't be that much of a hot take though, but I just don't see it happening. They lost too many important pieces. Looking at awards, we got Nathan MacKinnon taking home the Hart. Erik Karlsson's going to be taking home the Norris. No surprise here. Connor Bedard, Calder winner. Honestly, I'm probably going to stop showing Connor Bedard winning the Calder because I'm assuming he's going to win it every single season. The Conn Smythe winner is going to be Cale Makar. Vasilevsky, he's going to be taking home the Vezina. And our final trophy winner, that's going to be the Rocket Richard. And of course, that's going to Nathan MacKinnon. Season 3 is going to feature a few surprises. We're going to see the LA Kings finishing first overall, 53-23-6. Honestly, I don't see any scenario in which the LA Kings are finishing first in the entire league. Are they going to be a good team this season? Of course, they are definitely making the playoffs, but first in the entire league? I don't know about that one. And of course, shout out to my St. Louis Blues, 14th in the entire league, making the postseason. You'll love to see it. And the Washington Capitals, they're going to be our final wildcard team, 18th in the entire league. For the second time in this video, we're going to see Nikita Kucherov leading the league in points. He's picking up 55 goals and 55 helpers for 100 points. McDavid's going to be coming in 1 point shy with 109. And we're also going to see Jason Robertson leading the league in goals. He's picking up 57. Meanwhile, holding it down is one of the best goaltenders in the league. That's going to be Andrei Vasilevsky. He's picking up 46 wins, 2 shots, a 916 to 272. You see these numbers from Binner right here? That's what I want to see this season. I want to see 37 wins, 2 shots, a 916 to 275. Is it possible for him to do this? Of course it is. Is our defense going to allow him to do this? I would say no. In the postseason, Winnipeg would find a way to make it all the way back to the Stanley Cup final once again, but this time they're not going to be winning it as Carolina's going to be taking them down in a 5-game series. The awards for season number 3 are going to be looking like this. The Hart's going to Nikita Kucherov. Victor Hedman, he's going to be picking up the Norris. The Calder, that's going to Connor Bedard. No surprise there. Seth Jarvis is going to be taking home the Conn Smythe. So with all the guys on Carolina, he's the guy taking it home. The Vezina, that's going to be going to Freddie Anderson. And meanwhile, who's going to be taking home the Rocket Richard this season? Of course, we already know that's Jason Robertson. So for simulation number 4, I guess they're predicting that the Boston Bruins are going to replicate some of the success they had last season, first in the entire league, 52, 24, and 6. There's a lot of things I have questions about in this simulation, especially Vancouver finishing 5th overall, but there's one thing that I definitely can't argue with, and that's the team finishing dead last in the entire league, the Anaheim Ducks, 23, 50, and 9. I think that's fairly realistic. Like usual, Nikita Kucherov continues to dominate the league, 105 points this season, but shout out to Tyler Toffoli for picking up 91 points. Top 10 in scoring for Tyler Toffoli at 32 years old? You'll love to see it. Meanwhile, Vasilevskiy continues to prove he's one of the best goaltenders in the game, 44 wins, 4 shouts, and 920 into 257. In the postseason, I don't think we could have seen this one coming, the Winnipeg Jets making the Stanley Cup Final. We're on simulation 4 now, and this team's made it to 3 Stanley Cup Finals. Pittsburgh's going to be taking it home though, so I mean, it's not like they're winning all of them, but the fact that Winnipeg makes the Stanley Cup Final in so many of these simulations makes no sense to me. Evgeny Malkin, he's going to be taking home the Conn Smythe this time around. Linus Ullmark, he's got the Vezina, and taking home the Rocket Richard, of course, Nikita Kucherov. Who would have seen that one coming? So for the 5th simulation in a row, we have a new team taking home the President's Trophy. This time around, it's going to be the Minnesota Wild, 48, 27, and 7. Meanwhile, I think we got to appreciate the Columbus Blue Jackets making the postseason with 49 wins. So far during this simulation, this team's finished at the bottom of the league for a lot of them. Same with the Anaheim Ducks. From 23 wins or whatever they had last simulation to 44 and in the postseason. So who would have seen this one coming? Nikita Kucherov leading the league in points, 107, 51 goals, 56 assists. No, but real talk. Leon Draisaitl, I don't even know how many times you've hit 100 points. It hasn't been that many. Same with you, Connor McDavid. Why can neither of you guys crack 100 points? Like, honestly, it doesn't really make too much sense to me. Meanwhile, I didn't think I would be saying this sentence today. Elvis Merzlikins, he's going to be leading all goaltenders in wins, 42, 2 shots, a 902, and a 312. How did you lead the league in wins with these numbers? Like, they are not that good. They're not good by any means. Like, there's countless goaltenders that have way better numbers. But there's one thing we can celebrate in the postseason. The Winnipeg Jets not making the Stanley Cup Final, and we had the Carolina Hurricanes taking on the Colorado Avalanche, but Carolina's going to be coming out on top in 7 games. But there's one thing we can't celebrate in the postseason. Not seeing the Winnipeg Jets in the Stanley Cup Final. We got the Colorado Avalanche taking on the Carolina Hurricanes, but Carolina's going to be coming out on top in 7 games. So I might just start skipping the Hart Trophy if Nikita Kucherov's going to be winning it every single season. But Rasmus Dahlin, he's going to switch things up. He's taking home the Norris. Connor Bedard, who would have saw that one coming? Brett Burns, he's our Conn Smythe winner. Connor Hellebuyck, he's the Vezina winner. And taking home the Rocket Richard this season, that's going to be Kirill Kaprizov. In simulation number 6, we're seeing the Colorado Avalanche taking home another President's Trophy, 57, 18, and 7. They're the first team in this video to have multiple first place finishes. Not going to lie, this is actually starting to get a bit ridiculous. 66 goals, 48 assists, 114 points. But shout out to Connor McDavid, he's the true MVP of the league, 114 points, finally cracked 100 points once again. I mean, basically you haven't been doing anything for the past, I don't know how many simulations. You've basically done nothing in this video so far. I want you to step it up. Also, shout out to a 38-year-old Alexander Ovechkin on picking up 49 goals. We're going to have a new goaltender leading the league this time around. It's going to be Georgiev, 46 wins, 5 shouts, and 921 to 247. These are actually some fantastic numbers. Compared to Elvis Merzlikins, who led goaltenders in wins in the last simulation, these are way better. However, in the postseason, the President's Trophy curse is going to be real as Colorado is falling in the second round, and the Boston Bruins, after losing all those key pieces, they're going to find a way to win a Stanley Cup, taking McDavid and the Edmonton Oilers down in 7 games. For once, the awards are actually looking a bit different. Nathan MacKinnon, he's taking home the Hart. John Carlson from the Washington Capitals, he's actually taking home the Norris. Honestly, I'm really surprised that he's winning an award in this video. I didn't think he would be, especially with the likes of Cale Makar and Adam Fox. Brad Marchand, he's taking home the Conn Smythe. Georgiev, he's taking home the Vezina and taking home the Rocket Richard. Who would have seen this one coming? Nikita Kucherov, his 3rd Rocket Richard of the video, and we've only done 6 simulations. Simulation number 7 is going to have Dallas finishing first in the entire league with a 52, 24, and 6 record, while the Winnipeg Jets, they're going to be struggling, 22nd in the entire league, so we don't have to worry about them taking home the Stanley Cup. Out of absolutely nowhere, Austin Matthews is going to be leading the league in points with 107, 57 goals, 53 assists. You've been incredibly quiet this video, so it's good to see you finally doing something. Same with Mitch Marner, 110 points. It looks like some of the stars are starting to finally wake up. Also, William Nylander had 94. So Toronto's core here was just incredible. And a quick shout out to Jake Ottinger. He's going to lead all goaltenders in wins with 44. These numbers though, not the greatest by any means. In the postseason, we're going to see an incredibly unlikely matchup. The Toronto Maple Leafs taking on the LA Kings. Toronto's finally going to be ending the drought. They're taking home the Stanley Cup in 7 games. But this is just such a weird final. Like, even look at the conference finals. LA versus Seattle and Toronto versus Columbus. Nothing about this seems realistic. And with such a weird season like that, we might as well finish it off with some weird award winners. Mitch Marner's going to be taking home the Hart. Cale Makar, the Norris. No surprise there. Connor Bedard. Honestly, I'm just going to start ignoring your name because you win it every single time. Mitch Marner's also going to be taking home the Conn Smythe over Austin Matthews. That's pretty interesting. The Vezina's going to be going to Shesterkin. And to finish it all out, the Rocco Richard, that's going back to Austin Matthews. Simulation 8 by far has the most unrealistic standings. Winnipeg number 1, Vancouver number 2, and then my St. Louis Blues number 10. And with both of those teams at the top of the league, we're going to see Carolina, Toronto, and Colorado all missing the postseason. Finally, we would see a McDavid breakout as he's picking up 121 points, 51 goals, and 70 assists. Took you long enough. And Connor Hellebuyck, with the season that Winnipeg had, it's no surprise you're leading all goaltenders in wins. And it looks like the Winnipeg Jets are going to keep on rolling because they're going to be winning their 2nd Stanley Cup of the video, and they've also made their 4th finals appearance. Also, it only took 8 simulations before McDavid finally won a Hart Trophy. This is the first one he's ever won. We're 8 simulations in. We're going to see the Devils finishing at the top of the league once again, this time with a 50-24-8 record. The Winnipeg Jets might have fallen off a bit, dropping to 5th, but you already know when the postseason comes around, they're going to be competing. Meanwhile, we're going to see the Toronto Maple Leafs, Vegas Golden Knights, and Edmonton Oilers all finishing in the bottom 8 of the league. But the cores that these teams have, I don't even know how that's possible. And it's been a while since we've seen this man at the top of the league, Nikita Kucherov, 108 points this time around. Another guy we just saw, the Otter, and Jake Ottinger, 43 wins this time, 5 shots, a 921 and a 254. Numbers are looking much better this time. And you know what? To finish off this incredibly unrealistic simulation, we're going to see the Washington Capitals taking home the Stanley Cup, taking down the Calgary Flames. And the 2 conference finals matchups, nobody's expecting these. Pittsburgh versus Washington, but also Nashville versus Calgary. That just seems to be the most random conference finals if you ask me. It only took till the 10th simulation, but Toronto's finally going to be finishing first in the entire league, 50-24-8. But I don't know what's more ridiculous, it taking this long for Toronto to finish first once, or the fact that the San Jose Sharks finished 8th in the entire league. The San Jose Sharks, we do know who's on this team. Like, they literally had a negative goal differential. They were -7. And 8th in the entire league. Alright, this game's bugging. And we're going to keep seeing a bunch of firsts in this simulation because Leon Draisaitl, he's finally going to be leading the entire league and he's picking up 110 points. Meanwhile, Alexander Ovechkin, I already know for a fact he's taking home the Rocco Richard because he's got 59 goals. 59 goals at 38 years old. Based on how this season's going, I fully expect the San Jose Sharks to be winning the Stanley Cup. But it's actually not the San Jose Sharks, as we're going to see the Colorado Avalanche taking home their 2nd. And taking a quick look at awards, Leon Draisaitl is taking home his first Hart Trophy. Quinn Hughes is going to be taking home his first Norris Trophy. And Alexander Ovechkin, he's going to be taking home his first Rocco Richard Trophy of the video. Now, real talk, I'm surprised it took Edmonton this long to finish first in the entire league, 52-23-7. You have Connor McDavid, you have Leon Draisaitl, you've got the Nuge. How did it take this long? Like, seriously. And then there's also this team finishing 8th overall. Not going to mention their actual team name, but they did finish 8th. Also, the Minnesota Wild are making the playoffs, finishing 21st in the entire league, but Colorado is going to finish 26th and miss the playoffs. You're telling me the San Jose Sharks did better than the Colorado Avalanche? Austin Matthews, we're going to see him having another fantastic season, 114 points, 64 goals on top of that, career highs across the board. You love to see it. Also, a quick shout out to Trevor Zegras, top 10 in league scoring. Didn't see that one coming. Meanwhile, Linus Albright's going to continue to prove that he's one of the top goaltenders in the league. He's picking up 42 wins this season, 5 shots and 917 to 270. In the postseason, we're seeing a Stanley Cup rematch from probably a decade ago now. It's been a minute. The LA Kings taking on the New York Rangers, and once again, the Kings are going to be taking the Rangers down, this time in 5 games. And one award we're going to be looking at this season is going to be the Norris Trophy, as we're going to see Morgan Riley taking that home. The first one he's picked up at the video. After making the Stanley Cup final last season, Florida's building on that momentum. They're taking home a President's Trophy, their 2nd one in the past 3 years, 50-24-8. This team continues to prove they're one of the best in the league. Meanwhile, in this simulation, we're going to see the Vegas Golden Knights, the team that won the Stanley Cup, finishing 21st, and the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're going to be finishing 24th. We're going to have a new league leader in simulation number 12 as David Pastrnak's picking up 104 points, but once again, Alexander Ovechkin, 59 goals at age 38. This man's just built different. Also, Jack Hughes, 102 points. Can't be sleeping on this man. And you know who else you can't be sleeping on? Linus Ullmark, because once again, he's going to be leading all goaltenders in wins with 46. For the 2nd simulation in a row, we're going to have a first-time Stanley Cup winner in the sim, and that's going to be the New Jersey Jersey Devils, they're taking down the Dallas Stars in 7 games. And on top of this team winning a Stanley Cup, we're going to see Jack Hughes take home the Hart, and who's taking home the Conn Smythe? Well, that's none other than Jesper Bratt. So this is by far the weirdest simulation. Toronto's finishing first in the entire league, 53, 23, and 6. This part's not weird. Everything else about this season? Couldn't explain. So Brad Marchand's going to be leading all scorers this season. He's picking up 118 points, 40 goals, 78 assists, passes coming in second, 115 points, and then we're going to see Kaprizov, who's picking up 111. We're going to have ourselves a new goaltender leading the way this time around. It's going to be Samsonov, as he's picking up 42 wins, 2 shouts, and 914 to 274. I want you to keep in mind these numbers right here. It's important when it comes to the Vezina winner. In the postseason, we're going to have by far our strangest matchup of the video so far. The Vancouver Canucks taking on the Islanders, and the Vancouver Canucks are going to sweep them. I can't imagine this matchup actually happening in real life. The Islanders, I could see them making the postseason, making a deep run. They got a good core there. Vancouver, on the other hand, yeah, we'll just leave it at that. So here's where things get really stupid. Kaprizov, he's winning the Hart Trophy. I mean, he earned it. Dahlin, the Norris, had a fantastic season. Who's taking home the Conn Smythe? Ilya Mikheyev. He's on Conn Smythe winner. Who would have saw that one coming? But who took home the Vezina? Cam Talbot. We have Ilya Mikheyev winning the Conn Smythe and Cam Talbot taking home the Vezina. What type of simulation are we living in? It only took till simulation number 14, but here we are, the Pittsburgh Penguins, the top team in the entire league, 50, 21, and 11. Meanwhile, you also can't be sleeping on these Washington Capitals, 4th in the entire league. What is this, 2012? Something about this doesn't look right to me. So here's a face we haven't seen leading the league in points, and that's Johnny Gaudreau. And tied with Johnny Gaudreau is actually Braden Point, 2 guys I never would have expected to be leading the league. And then here's Alexander Ovechkin with 55 goals. And speaking of players I never thought I would see leading a category, Philip Grubauer in wins with the Seattle Kraken, 45 wins, 5 shouts, a 906 and a 296. These numbers actually aren't that impressive, especially when you compare him to UC Saros. He played 3 less games, had 1 less win, but this man was dominating, 8 shouts, a 927 and a 239. And it looks like Johnny Gaudreau would be able to go on a bit of a run with the Columbus Blue Jackets, making it all the way to the Stanley Cup final with them, but the Edmonton Oilers, they would be able to take him down in a 6-game series. And with the incredible season that UC Saros had, it's no surprise he's going to be taking home the Vezina, his first of the video. So once again, we're going to be seeing the Toronto Maple Leafs at the top of the league with a 51, 23, and 8 record. While Brad Marchand's once again going to be leading the league in points. He's picking up 107, but shout to Jack Eichel, 105 points, a career high for him, 2nd in the entire league. It's good to see him showing out and playing at the top of his game. Checking out the goaltending numbers, we're going to see Freddie Anderson leading the goaltenders in wins with 42. He also picked up 6 shouts in the process with a 914 to 270. It's been a while since we've seen Pittsburgh in this simulation. 11 simulations to be exact, and here they are once again, Stanley Cup champions, taking the Vegas Golden Knights down in 5 games. But honestly, the most impressive thing about this season is this man right here, Connor McDavid, winning the Hart Trophy. We're in simulation number 15 right now, and this is the 2nd Hart Trophy he's won. 15 simulations, and he's only won the MVP twice. In simulation number 16, the Rangers are finishing first in the entire league with 52 wins and 107 points. Also, shout out to the Montreal Canadiens making the postseason, 42, 31, and 9. The past couple simulations, this man right here has been dominating, Johnny Hockey, but also Erik Karlsson 2nd in league scoring with 96 points. I think the wildest part about this season, nobody had 100 points. The top scorer had 97. Also, you have Patrick Laine here with 91. Connor McDavid, where are you, my guy? Did you have less than 82 points? Ain't no way that happened. He actually had less than 82 points. I probably passed his name already. Nope. 82 points in 82 games. Connor McDavid. That's wild. I guess we have some sort of realism with Vasilevsky being one of the best in the game as he's leading all goaltenders in wins. He also had 7 shutouts in the process. I think this was the only realistic thing to happen from this season. In the postseason, we're going to see Seattle making their first Stanley Cup appearance, but they're going to be following in a sweep to the New York Rangers. And I would tell you who won the Conn Smythe for the New York Rangers, but it's so funny you have to wait till the end of the video. Because when I saw who won it and I had to write it down in my spreadsheet, I couldn't stop laughing. Something about this man winning the Conn Smythe just isn't right. But shout out to him for winning it though. For the 2nd simulation in a row, we had the New York Rangers taking home the President's Trophy, 49, 26, and 7, and right behind them, only 1 point shy, the Vancouver Canucks. Meanwhile, we're going to see a team like the Dallas Stars missing out on the playoffs, while Nashville is claiming the last wildcard spot, being 22nd in the entire league. McDavid's going to be leading the league with 105 points. Now, I do want to say something. When it comes to leading the league in points, we see a lot of common names here. Connor McDavid, Braden Point seems to be here quite a bit, Nikita Kucherov, but for the Rocket Richard this season, we have Svechnikov and we have Jeff Skinner. both of these guys won it. These are two very interesting Rocket Richard winners. Meanwhile, with goaltenders, we go back to the usual suspects, and Shesterkin, he's leading the way this time. In our postseason match, we're going to see the Colorado Avalanche making another Stanley Cup final, and they're going to be taking on the Buffalo Sabres. First time they've been here today in Colorado, they're going to be taking home another Stanley Cup. So the President's Trophy is heading back up to Canada as the Edmonton Oilers are going to be taking it with a 52-25-5 record. While the league leader for this simulation is going to be Mikko Rantanen, 108 points, 50 goals, 58 assists, and Nikita Kucherov, 57 goals. He's going to be leading the league once again. Also, shout out to my guy Tim Stutzel, who's finishing 6th in league scoring with 95 points, and Dylan Larkin, 93 points, Barkov, 92. A lot of surprises here in the top 10. But the goaltending is not going to look like much of a surprise as Jake Ottinger's leading with wins, but Stuart Skinner's also tied with him with 44. Well, in the postseason, we're going to see a familiar team in the Colorado Avalanche as they're going to be winning another Stanley Cup, taking the Boston Bruins down in 5 games. It's also in this simulation where we're going to be seeing Josh Norris taking home his first Norris Trophy. So it looks like the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to be coming out on top of the league once again this year with 51 wins, but also the Vancouver Canucks tying them with 51 wins. They were just 1 point shy though of winning the President's Trophy. But seriously, can we talk about the Vancouver Canucks constantly finishing second here? That's the second time it's happened. The boys over in Edmonton are going to be leading the league with Draisaitl picking up 102 points, McDavid's picking up 100, but shout out to my guy Joe Pavelski, 97 points at 39 years old. We really got to appreciate that Joe Pavelski continues to get better as he gets older. Like, bro's 39 years old. What did he do last season at 38? He had an incredible year. 77 points in 82 games at 38 years old. Gotta put respect on his name. And with Vancouver finishing second in the entire league, you already knew this man was carrying the way, Thatcher Demko, but his save percentage and goals against are not good. No clue how you finish second in the entire league with a goals against of 3. When the postseason came around, we got some familiar faces in the Stanley Cup final. The Tampa Bay Lightning taking on the Colorado Avalanche, but Tampa's going to be taking them down in a sweep, so Colorado's not going to be able to win their 3rd straight. So after the historic season Boston had, they're going to be running it back again this year, 58-19-5. There's no way the Boston Bruins are picking up 58 wins with the roster they have right now. But I don't know what's more realistic than that. Boston finishing first with 58 wins, or my St. Louis Blues 4th in the entire league. If we're 4th in the entire league, Benner had a 960 and a 120. So it's a crazy season from Austin Matthews this year, 116 points, 62 goals, and 54 helpers. But I think the worst part about this is those 62 goals you picked up, not enough for the Rocket Richard because Kucherov's going to pick up 63. Bro just needed to pick up that extra goal so you couldn't get it. Me personally, I wouldn't let that happen. Meanwhile, this guy's going to be leading all goaltenders in wins. Haven't seen that one before. Well. Haven't seen this matchup before, and I don't think we've seen this outcome before. The Colorado Avalanche making the Stanley Cup final once again, taking on the Boston Bruins once again, and Colorado's going to take them down in a sweep. 4 straight simulations now where Colorado's made it to the Stanley Cup final, and they've won 3 of them. I think it's safe to say, based on the simulation so far, this team's the favorite to win the Stanley Cup. So it's been a while since we've seen this team at the top of the league. One of the best in the game, of course, the Winnipeg Jets, 48, 24, and 10. They're taking home the President's Trophy. Also, something about this top 5 just looks really weird to me. Like Winnipeg, New Jersey, Seattle, Minnesota, Edmonton. I mean, these are all great teams, and I have no issue with them being in the top 5. But for some reason, in this order, it just looks really weird. I don't know, maybe it's just me, but something about this just doesn't sit right with me. Meanwhile, we have ourselves another fantastic simulation from those boys in Edmonton. Draisaitl 102, and McDavid, he's picking up 100. Also, I think this might be the first time we've ever seen Sebastian Aho in the top 10. He's picking up 89 points, so shout out to him. Grubauer, I was surprised you led all goaltenders in wins once, but now you're doing it again for the 2nd time in this video. Maybe you're about to have a fantastic season, and maybe Seattle's going to be surprising a lot of us this season. And that Grubauer dominance would translate into some postseason success, but unfortunately they're going to be falling to the Toronto Maple Leafs in a 7-game series. Maybe Seattle is working towards something special. Also, with that Toronto Maple Leafs Stanley Cup, we're going to see Austin Matthews taking home the Conn Smythe. The first one he's taken home in this video. Okay, so something incredible happened this season. Toronto Maple Leafs first in the entire league, congrats on that. Kucherov, you led the league, had 66 goals. Great season from you, that's not important. And once again, Grubauer's going to be that guy, 44 wins, 8 shutouts, and 918 to 255. But something incredible happened here. And no, it's not the St. Louis Blues winning a Stanley Cup, it's the Seattle Kraken beating the Toronto Maple Leafs in 5 games. But there is somebody on this Seattle Kraken team, and there's still one more award to give out. Isn't that a beautiful sight right there? Andre Burakovsky, Conn Smythe winner, the man most valuable to his team in the postseason. He's that guy. You can't question it anymore. Conn Smythe winner. Also, Sorokin won the Vezina in case you cared about that. First time he's won it in the video so far. On simulation 23, we're going to see Edmonton claiming another President's Trophy with a 58-20-4 record. And it should be no surprise with Edmonton performing at that type of a level, McDavid's going to be carrying the way. He's picking up 112 points, while Leon Draisaitl, he's going to be picking up 110. But in the postseason, I'm getting sick and tired of seeing the Colorado Avalanche. But the Pittsburgh Penguins are going to have an answer for them, as they're going to be winning it in 6 games. But honestly, in the last 7 simulations, Colorado's made the Stanley Cup 5 times. It's getting ridiculous out here. It really is. So I'm going to be completely honest, this might be the most disappointing sim I've seen yet. The New York Rangers, first in the entire league, 50-20-7. Keep in mind, one of the teams making the postseason, the St. Louis Blues. I think you might know where I'm going with this now. Austin Matthews is going to be at the top of the league as he's picking up 110 points, but he's also going to be picking up 65 goals in the process. I also just realized I forgot to look at goaltenders in the last simulation, so we'll look at him here. Freddie Anderson, 45 wins, 5 shouts, and 919 and 258. But this is where it gets really disappointing. The St. Louis Blues are going to be falling in the Stanley Cup final to the Boston Bruins. They're going to find a way to get revenge against this team. You hate to see it, you really do. Like, this is actually one of the worst things I've seen today. My entire day is ruined just because of this right here. The New York Rangers are going to be running back as President's Trophy winners, but the real show has to go to the Anaheim Ducks, who are finishing 7th in the entire league. The current Anaheim Ducks, without any trades or anything, 7th in the entire league. But some things never change, as we're going to see Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl number 1 and 2 in the entire league, and Austin Matthews, he's taking home the Rocket Richard, picking up 64 goals. Also, one guy I don't think I've seen very much in this video, Matthew Tkachuk. Top 5 in scoring. Welcome to the top 5. Yeah, I just feel like I haven't seen your name very much. Maybe you have been in the top 10, but definitely not the top 5 very often. I rarely see your name around here. In the postseason, we're going to have the Oilers taking on the Islanders in a back-and-forth series. The Islanders are going to be taking it in 7 games. Simulation 26 is where we're going to see the Tampa Bay Lightning finishing first in the entire league with a 47-26-9 record. Also in this same season, we're going to see Vegas finishing 26th in the entire league with a 37-36-9 record. Kucherov is going to be his usual dominant self, where he's picking up 118 points, but he's also going to be winning the Rocket Richard with 64 goals. Meanwhile, we have a 3-way tie for goaltender wins. Jonas Korpisalo, Connor Hellebuyck, and Jake Ottinger, they're all picking up 40. But Jonas Korpisalo, that's a new name that we haven't seen yet. Well, in the postseason, we're going to see the Winnipeg Jets taking down the Carolina Hurricanes in a 6-game series to win their 3rd Stanley Cup. And with all the talented players in the Winnipeg Jets, we're going to see Cole Perfetti taking home the Conn Smythe. Not Connor Hellebuyck, not Mark Scheifele, not Josh Morrissey, Cole Perfetti. The Colorado Avalanche are going to be having another dominant season, which is going to lead to them finishing first in the entire league with a 53-23-6 record. But we're not going to see somebody from the Avalanche leading the league in scoring. Once again, it's going to be Nikita Kucherov, and Braden Point's also going to be tied there with 108 points. So you're going to have 2 guys from Tampa at the top of the league. However, we are going to have one representative from the Colorado Avalanche leading something in stats. That's going to be Alexander Georgiev, 46 wins, 6 shouts, a 922 and a 239. He's absolutely dominating this season. And that dominance from Georgiev is going to carry over into the postseason, as once again the Colorado Avalanche are going to be taking home the Stanley Cup. So this is by far the weirdest simulation we've seen yet. The New Jersey Devils are going to be finishing first in the entire league, 52-24-6. The rest of the standings here, nothing ridiculous. Maybe Detroit being 7th's a bit high, but nothing completely outlandish. David Pastrnak's going to be having a fantastic season where he's picking up 106 points, including 51 goals. I would say that's pretty realistic for a guy like Pasta. But here's where things get really strange. Ville Husso is going to lead all goaltenders in wins with 41, followed by Vanecek and Samsonov. I want you to keep in mind who's in the top 7 or 8 here. This is very important for who wins the Vezina. On top of this ridiculous simulation, the Arizona Coyotes are winning the Stanley Cup, taking down the New York Rangers in 6 games. Yeah, you heard me right. The Arizona Coyotes, Stanley Cup champions. And from the Arizona Coyotes, we're going to see Nick Schmaltz taking home the Conn Smythe. But here's our Vezina winner, Robin Lehner. I did not see this man in the top 10 for any goaltender stats. So how is he winning the Vezina? Couldn't tell ya. He must have had an incredible save percentage and an incredible goals against. It wasn't too long ago that we saw the Winnipeg Jets winning a Stanley Cup, and now they're going to be finishing first in the entire league with a 50-26-6 record. But this is definitely something we haven't seen. Trevor Zegras is going to be leading the entire league in points, 107, 37 goals, and 70 assists. Trevor Zegras leading the entire league? Yeah, that's not happening. That just isn't happening. Also, Philip Forsberg, he's finishing in the top 6 here. He's picked up 99 points. Johnny Hockey, he's got 92. A lot of surprises here. However, we are going to come back down to reality, as Jake Ottinger is going to be leading all goaltenders in wins with 43. But the save percentage and goals against right here, definitely not it. And the simulation continues to be more unrealistic, as Vancouver's matching up against the Islanders, and Vancouver's taking them down in a quick 4-game sweep. Also, it really took to simulation number 29 for us to see Roman Josi win a Norris. This is the first one he's won so far in the video. Also, the Conn Smythe winner this time for the Vancouver Canucks is a bit more realistic. It's going to be Quinn Hughes, not Mikheyev. Also, this simulation is also going to include Samsonov taking home his first Vezina. So it took 26 simulations for Tampa to get their first President's Trophy. Now they've picked up 2 in the past 5 sims. On top of that, it's not even like Nikita Kucherov's going to be leading the entire league, because Connor McDavid is, as he's picking up 109 points, and Ovi's going to be his usual self as he's picking up 54 goals. Meanwhile, it looks like the man, the myth, the legend, Connor Hellebuyck's going to be leading all goaltenders in wins as he's picking up 42 while posting a 911 and a 288. And in the postseason, they're back once again, the Colorado Avalanche, and this time they're completing a sweep over the Pittsburgh Penguins. Before we get into the next simulation though, there was one award that surprised me, and that's going to be Jacob Markstrom taking home the Vezina. We're finally down to our final two simulations, and this one's going to have the Edmonton Oilers finishing first in the entire league with a 51-24-7 record. And of course, with Edmonton finishing first in the entire league, you already know Connor McDavid's going to be leading the league in scoring. He's picking up 106. Looking at goaltender wins, you're going to have Merzlikins leading the way with 46, but who's going to be coming in second? Well, it's the former Columbus Blue Jacket and Jonas Korpisalo. But it looks like neither of those goaltenders are going to be making that deep of a run, because the Vegas Golden Knights are going to be taking home the Stanley Cup in a 7-game series over the Carolina Hurricanes. Some notable award winners this season is going to be Jack Eichel taking home his first Conn Smythe, and also Mikko Rantanen taking home his first Rocket Richard of the video. And in our final simulation, Toronto's going to be taking home another President's Trophy with a 51-21-10 record. But leading the way, you already knew this man was going to be here, Nikita Kucherov, 53 goals, 55 helpers, 108 points. This dude's been dominating this entire video so far. If he doesn't lead the league in scoring this season, then I don't know what EA is cooking up here. But also in saying that, Alexander Ovechkin did pick up 62 goals this season, so there is that to keep in mind. Meanwhile, with Toronto finishing at the top of the league, you already knew Samsonov was going to be leading the way. He's picking up 46 wins with 5 shutouts. But in the postseason, we're going to have a very unlikely matchup. The Columbus Blue Jackets taking on the Vegas Golden Knights. Vegas is making it to the Stanley Cup final in back-to-back simulations. However, Columbus is going to have an answer for them, and they're taking it home in 7 games. And with Columbus winning the Stanley Cup, that means we're going to have a new Conn Smythe winner, and that's Marchenko. And also in the final simulation of the day, we're going to see Philip Gustafsson taking home his first Vezina trophy. So now that I've simulated through the NHL season 32 times, what are we looking at for a potential season? So here's a graph of every single team that won the President's Trophy, and the most important thing to note from this, if you win the President's Trophy, that doesn't correlate with the Stanley Cup. There's also 13 different teams able to win the President's Trophy, and Toronto won the most, winning 5 times. Next up, we have our Eastern Conference champs. There was 12 different teams to win it, and surprisingly, the team that won it the most, the Pittsburgh Penguins out of all teams. There was also 3 other teams able to claim 4 Eastern Conference titles. That's going to be the Toronto Maple Leafs, Tampa Bay Lightning, and Carolina Hurricanes. Over in the West, there wasn't as many winners, and there was also a clear favorite, the Colorado Avalanche. They ended up making the Stanley Cup final 10 times in the simulation. Over the 32 years we simulated, we had 18 different Stanley Cup champions. However, 7 of the titles are going to be going to the Colorado Avalanche because that team was dominating, but to have 18 different winners in 32 simulations, I would say that's quite a bit of parity. But now we've moved on to our Conn Smythe winner, and the guy that took it home the most was Mikko Rantanen, as he won 4 Conn Smythes. But more importantly, who won the Conn Smythe when the New York Rangers won the Stanley Cup? Alexis Lafreniere. That's right, not Artemi Panarin, not Shesterkin, not Chris Kreider, not Mika Zibanejad, Alexis Lafreniere. So now we're going to move on to individual awards, and we're going to start with the Hart Trophy. Nikita Kucherov's going to be leading the way, picking it up 7 times, but Connor McDavid actually picked it up 6 times in the simulation, and that's pretty good considering how slow he started. Next up is our Norris Winners, where we're going to have a 2-way tie for first. That's going to be Cale Makar and Erik Karlsson both picking up 8. If you're telling me that Cale Makar and Erik Karlsson both have an equal chance of taking home the Norris this season, it's going to be a wild year. Looking at Vezina winners, we had 16 different Vezina winners, which I was really surprised about. I thought we were only going to have like 5 or 6 guys dominating the sim, but we actually had a lot of parity here, and Allmark's going to be picking up the most Vezinas as he's going to be getting 6. Finally, we have our Rocket Richard winners, and that's going to be led by Nikita Kucherov, who's picking up 10. This man dominated early on in the sim, and that's going to allow him to capture this award. Austin Matthews, he had a pretty good run himself, picking up 9, and Alexander Ovechkin at 38 years old, picking up 6 Rocket Richards. Never would have seen that one coming. So based on this simulation here, I think we have a pretty good grasp who's going to be winning the Stanley Cup. It's going to be the Colorado Avalanche. This team absolutely dominated during the sim, and who's going to be taking home a lot of individual awards? Nikita Kucherov. What that man was doing during this simulation today made absolutely no sense. But as we know, EA might not have the most realistic simulation because the Arizona Coyotes did win a Stanley Cup, so at the end of the day, who really knows what's going to happen?